It's one strike. Line drive, left field, base hit, Seiya Suzuki. 1 run scores, bobbled and left. 2-run score, and it's 4-1 Cubs. 2-2. Ground ball to third. Throw to second for 1. For the win. Yes! Oh, my. Oh, baby!
Who doesn't love a series win at Wrigley North? Not only does Seiya Suzuki continue to own the Brewers, this 50-win team that brought in their 3 aces lost to a pitching squad that's composed of David Peterson and local Portillo's employees. I'm recording this right after Japan versus Brazil. That was an absolutely brutal loss, but my lineup of teams I wanted to support this year during the World Cup is already off to a pretty bad start. I need Mexico to avenge them, but we aren't here to talk about fucking soccer. The 2026 Chicago Cubs season has been an absolute roller coaster, going into the season as potential contenders, riding off the momentum of a magical 2025 outing similar to what happened with the Bears. You had the young core, you got rid of the shitter Kyle Tucker, and with the addition of Alex Bregman, you're really thinking, let's see how far we could take this thing. The omen of things to come took place even before spring training during the World Baseball Classic when Seiya Suzuki injured his knee in the quarterfinals, a notch in a game that was a terrible collapse for Japan. The Cubs started off incredibly hot, going on 2 different 10-game winning streaks and sitting at 27-12. At one point, they felt like the best team in baseball. While you could pinpoint the collapse that came after to the Crosstown Classic against the White Sox, what a crazy year Murakami and those guys are having too, by the way, as despite taking the first game 10-5, the team just shriveled up and died 1,000 deaths, not only choking the series to a rival, but going on a 10-game losing streak immediately after. I feel like the collapse started just right before that. In the 2 series between the Rangers and the Braves, you really saw the offense that was praised for how hot it was get completely iced. And with sports being the mental game that it is, when you lose your confidence, not only does it show, but it spreads. It definitely doesn't help when you have 12 pitchers on IL, but it just felt like nothing was working. Alex Bregman wasn't, and still isn't, putting the team in positions to succeed. And for someone worth $175 million, you expect just a little more from a guy like that. PCA, for as electric and as animated as he is, the frustrations really started to rear their ugly heads. And that's not to mention the incident during the Crosstown. Nico Horner was a living highlight reel game after game. Then on April 29th against the Padres, he got hit in the head with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. He stayed in the game, but he just hasn't been the same, and his production has been cratering ever since. And then you got Ian Happ. You top the lack of offense with pitchers throwing ham sandwiches all day, you would think that was a recipe for a Mets-level disaster. Who could you really rely on? Shorty Imanaga? For what? For every amazing game that he has, the next is straight poop from a butt. The Cubs struggled at around 500 for a good while, and the team felt lifeless. But something began to change during the late May series against the Cardinals. It was Game 2, and PCA gets hammered with a chance of overrated from the Tarpsoft section in St. Louis. And he immediately hammers a 444-foot blast. This sets up what has been a straight month of non-stop aura farming from one of the best and yet underappreciated center fielders in the league. Like I said, it's a game of confidence. And I think PCA should give me some royalties because I feel like as I'm going through the script, I'm realizing that I'm just giving him some insane top. The Cubs will get belted a few more times by the Athletics and the Giants at home, and somehow losing to the fucking Rockies before finally getting a series win against the Giants in San Francisco on June 13th, with a 3-game win streak being the cherry on top. That momentum pushed them into winning the next series against the Rockies, where PCA ended up hitting a full cycle. The lack of bullpen really showed its cracks Game 3, when the Cubs almost choked an 8-1 lead. The Cubs ended up delivering their own belt to ass against Toronto, and then sweeping the Mets in 4 games that made even Dansby Swanson, who was objectively the worst hitter on the team this season, look absolutely electric. And those Norwegian fans that were at the game are going to go home and tell the tales of this man's insanity run like they witnessed the Messi of baseball play. Well, I guess the better example would be Holland, right? But whatever. Even the Mets commentators were discussing how much the team should regret ever trading PCA for 6 weeks of Javi Baez in a season they didn't even make the playoffs in. All of that leads us to this past series against the Brewers. A hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Mizorowski lit up the game as expected, and of course he breaks history against the Cubs, throwing a casual 105-mile-per-hour bomb. But games 2 and 3, somehow, someway, in the vein of the cardiac Bears, the cardiac Cubs found a way to win. When the odds were stacked against them, the players stepped up, and we got some unsung heroes who came in clutch, especially on the pitching side, like the guy they ironically got from the Mets, David Peterson. Jordan Wicks and Jake Moody. Absolute chills right there. When I wrote this script, the Cubs were sitting at 46 and 38, and it was right before they played their first game against the Padres.
Seiya, deep left. it! 10th walk-off of the year for the Cubs!
But this series is going to be an absolutely brutal stretch, as Chicago is getting hit with pure unadulterated swamp-ass weather. If they can pull out another series win despite it all, 80 wins might not be the pipe dream it felt like even a few weeks ago. The 2026 Cubs are the ultimate anomaly. Scorching hot, ice cold, injury plagued, yet still in the hunt. Like seriously, what the fuck is this team? Are we good or are we bad?